Hello my dear geographers, I hope everyone is keeping well. So once again welcome back to our geography class. Today I am going to start a new topic of class 9, that is the preventive measures of pollution. So as I told you, the topic name is preventive measures of pollution. That means this topic is also associated with pollution. So before starting this, let's see what do we understand by preventive measures. So basically preventive measures means any reasonable measures taken by any person after an incident has occurred to prevent or minimize the pollution damage. So pollution affects the air we breathe, the water we drink and the soil in which we grow our crops. The gaseous fumes from the different industries, the emission from the various motor vehicles, the burning of fossil fuels have made the air, especially in the cities, so poisonous that it has made life difficult for the citizens. Now water is getting polluted by various sources, air is getting polluted, so everywhere basically our environment is getting damaged by the different modes of the pollution. To prevent this phenomena, we need to take some different measure. What are these? One by one we will discuss. Number one, it is carpools. First of all, carpools or carpooling refers to the sharing of cars journeys by persons traveling on the same route. Okay, so here the main advantages of carpooling are the following, like it reduces air pollution by reducing the number of vehicles on the road and thereby cutting down the vehicular emissions. It also helps to save the petrol and diesel. It helps to save money in buying fuel and maintenance cost of the cars. It helps to use commuting time in useful pursuits. Now it also reduces the traffic congestion on the roads. It helps to distress by talking to fellow commuters, sharing a story or a joke. So this can also help to build the social relationship. Now many online services provide a choice to ride share with people of your choice. Nowadays there are Uber, there are another few cabs which is available, which is the basic example of such carpools. Now the second one is promotion of public transport. So there are two different types of transportation present. One is private, another one is public. So basically public transport is a shared passenger transportation service which is available for use by the general public. Now as an example I can say the metro, the local trains, the public bus, all of these are the examples of this public transportation. Now let's see what are the basic advantages of using such public transport. Obviously it will help to reduce the pollution because it reduces damage to the environment by reducing emissions. For an example, one bus emits far fewer fumes than 20 cars. Similarly, train emissions of carbon dioxide per passenger per kilometer are much less than travel by car. So it causes less noise also, no air pollution, and it is quite eco-friendly transportation system. It occupies no road space if underground and only about 2.36 meter width road if elevated. Now it helps to save money spent on maintenance of personal vehicles. Now if you have your personal vehicles, for that you need to spend some money for the maintenance, but if you are using public transport, so your maintenance cost will be very less. It also avoids the need to find the parking space for private vehicles. Now it reduces the congestion. Again the same point, it reduces the congestion on roads and thereby traffic jams and the traveling time. Now it is also safer to travel by public transport than private vehicles because it adverse numbers of accidents. So it is done. Now third number, it is very important, that is no smoking zone, NSZ. What is the meaning of smoking? Basically we all know what is smoking. Smoking is the inhalation of smoke of burning tobacco encased in cigarettes, bidis, pipes and cigars. Now in this way, nicotine, which is very active ingredients in tobacco, is inhaled into the lungs. Smoking does not harm the smoker but also the people nearby who breathe in the smoke exhaled by the smokers and are known as passive smokers. So recent research has shown that the concentration of second-hand tobacco smoke, okay, in many outdoor areas is often as higher than in some indoor areas. So obviously there should be some no smoking zone. You might have seen in cinema halls, in so many cinema halls, in shopping malls, there is a one signboard which is hanged, that is, and over that it is written no smoking zone. So obviously there are some advantages of this. It reduces the possibility of second-hand tobacco smoke being inhaled by non-smokers. It also reduces air pollution. Areas which have prohibited smoking have been found to have better indoor air quality. It also reduces the health care caused by reducing the chances of diseases caused by smoking. It reduces the chances of influencing others, because especially the youths, to take on the habit of smoking. It reduces the chances of accidental fires in places with highly flammable materials. Now, forest fires and fires which starts from lit cigarettes. Next one is the restricted use of fossil fuels. So, fossil fuels refers to buried or combustible deposits of organic material formed from decayed plants and the animals that have been converted to crude oil, the natural gas, coal by the exposure to heat and pressure in the earth's crust over hundreds of millions of years. Now, fossil fuels are the cause of environmental hazards like air pollution, global warming, acid rain, etc. Air pollution is one of the major disadvantages of fossil fuels, because we generally burn such fuels for our household purposes, not only that, for industrial purposes also, and directly and indirectly it generally affects our environment. Now, sulfur dioxide, which is one of the important pollutant that is released when fossil fuels are burned, and it is a main cause of acid rain. Now, the fossil fuels are non-renewable source of energy also. As a result of growing demand of fossil fuels are being depleted at a rate of 1 lakh times faster than they are being formed. So, if we will not cut down our uses over fossil fuels, then what will happen after few years? We will see that the fossil fuel will be diminished, and after that our survival, there will be a question mark of our survival. Now, here also it is essential to reduce the dependence on such energy resources and explore and exploit the enormous potential of alternative sources of energy. Nowadays, though, people, they are understanding, and they are mostly like to depend on such renewable sources of energy like tidal energy, solar energy, etc., which are not only renewable resources of energy but also eco-friendly and clean and safe to use. So instead of using such fossil fuels, if we will depend on renewable resources, then our environment will be safe. Next one is the saving energy. What is that? Now, India faces serious energy crisis due to population pressure. Okay, so today the fossil fuels are the main source of energy in the urban areas like coal, petroleum, etc. They are being used at an alarming rate. Now, if these fuels continue to be used at the present rate, then what will happen? They would not last for consumption for a long time, right? So, we need to save our energy. Like, the different measures can help to save the energy. So here they use the ultra blankets and sweaters instead of using room heaters. Likewise, in summer, dress in light cotton clothes to save on air conditioning cost and energy. So if we will use public transport or carpool, then this will help to save the energy cost. Now, make sure that the houses are well insulated, and if heated or cooled, windows or doors are not left open. So use a low flow shower head to reduce the water consumption, and we need to replace the light fixtures with energy converting SCFL bulbs and tubes, which helps to save 75% of the energy. Now the last one is the organic farming. So organic farming is a holistic system of farming which is primarily aimed at cultivating the land and raising the crops in such a way as to keep the soil alive and in good health by use of organic waste. Rather than using the chemical fertilizers and pesticides, here we will use the biofertilizers. It will protect the quality of the soil. Organic farming obviously promotes the use of crop rotations and overcrops. Organic residues and the nutrients produced on the farm are recycled back to the soil, and preventative like insects and disease control methods are also practiced. So like this, the organic farming is very, very important, and nowadays developed countries as well as the developing countries, they are trying to practicing this organic farming on their field to save our world, to save our environment. So these are the basic 6 points of this preventive measures of the different types of pollution. So I hope this topic is quite clear to you all. Next day we will come with a new topic. Till then, thank you and take care.